I think the mindset shift needs to be away from earning and it needs to move towards learning. How fast can I learn what works? That's the game you're playing. And if you constantly understand that business is a game of speed of implementation and then closing feedback loops as fast as possible so you can just get a little bit better, then all of a sudden you look at paid ads differently. You look at it as like the greatest thing that's ever been created instead of this like big risky place that's going to lose all my money.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Joel Irway here, and welcome to another very special episode of Experts Unleashed. We continue our advertising series here today with a very special guest, Joe Stolte from Daily.ai. I'm super pumped to have a conversation with him. He is running about $15,000 a month in paid advertising right now, driving straight to his software for a free trial. Excited to dive in, have him talk about what's working for him, how he's able to maintain that level of spend, and we'll have a great conversation. Joe, what's up, my man?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me, Joel. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm excited to chat. Why don't you give our listeners kind of a little bit of context of what Daily.ai is and your level of spend and kind of like what you're running right now in terms of the campaign structure.
Yeah, definitely. So Daily.ai, we build AI automated email newsletters for thought leaders, authors, coaches, consultants, and small companies. We got like 375 companies that work with us now. A lot of service-based businesses, could be plastic surgeons, real estate agents, consumer packaged goods companies, that kind of stuff. And, what's great about our product is, email is kind of challenging. The middle of funnel is kind of challenging. So we build a newsletter that basically takes care of your middle funnel. It watches what everybody clicks on, and then it updates your newsletter every day if you want. Every week is what most people send it out as. So it just gets smarter over time. And it's a high leverage way to nurture your audience and drive them from the top to the bottom of the funnel to create more leads and sales. And we didn't start off buying traffic. We scaled our way up to 15K. And quite frankly, given like our metrics, we probably should be spending more money. It's our most profitable channel. My biggest regret with buying ads was like, why didn't I start sooner? But, we scaled up. We had a bunch of partnerships, right? So I would go speak, or we would have a different partner would promote us in some capacity, or we'd do a webinar together. And that would drive traffic to our pages. And the way that we dipped our toes in the water is we started doing retargeting because it felt silly not to do retargeting if we were driving traffic to our offer. And at the time we were doing like a high ticket sales funnel model where it was like, come to the page, get information, see a VSL, and then book a call. And then we did all the heavy lifting on the sales call. Then we launched an AI agent that just can start you and launch your newsletter right away. So we just tested what would it cost to buy traffic to get someone to start a trial. And it was way cheaper than booking a call. That was really great. It was a big move. It took a lot of courage and testing to do that. But we started with retargeting, and then we started with a little bit of basic audience, like interest tagging on Meta. And what's really cool is recently, in the last couple of years, like Meta has made it really easy to buy ads. This is our process. Like we upload our buyer list and we do different versions of the lookalike, and we create like a handful of different creatives. And then the AI inside of Meta is so powerful. It just goes and finds customers for us. We make sure the appropriate pages are pixeled, and it literally does all the work after that.
Yeah.
So it's really simple. And so what happened is we just paid very close attention to the numbers, and, we had really positive ROAS. And as soon as that was positive, we just started working with our media team to increase that intelligently over time. And then of course, like refresh the creative, and there's a little bit that goes into it, but it was literally that simple, man. We just should have gotten the game a lot sooner, and we could have been using the most powerful AI marketing engine on the planet to get more customers faster.
Well, let me ask you this. So I've run traffic to SaaS pages in the past for a free trial. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Everything comes down to messaging, right? When you turned on paid ads to cold paid ads, like not retargeting, right? Like, hey, we'll talk about like creative and copy style that works for you guys. Did you have to test your landing page messaging at all? Or did you have that pretty well dialed in before you started running paid traffic?
Yeah, we'd probably done 50 tests on the landing page from partner introduced traffic, which is warmish. But we continued to test when we started buying traffic to the page because it was cold. The one thing that saved us is there's this saying that I always teach my team, which is the bigger the promise, the bigger the proof. And so we spent a lot of time in the first year of our business just getting really high profile on target case studies, like we did the newsletter for Robert Kennedy Jr. and Dan Sullivan and Joe Polish and Chris Voss and Peter Diamandis and Tony Robbins. So like we had really good social proof so that even if our headline wasn't exactly perfect or our little VSL page wasn't like the best it could be, we were trying to overwhelm people with like credibility, and that
Hmm.
was by design. And that really saved us because that gave us some grace with people coming in that were cold so that we could really nail the headline. And man, I'll just say there are headlines that I thought were amazing and they got people to start trials, but they were like the worst cohort for
Hmm.
LTV, for lifetime value. And I can give some examples. So yeah, we definitely are constantly testing. We still testing. It just gets harder and harder to beat a really good control once you have a really good control.
Yeah.
But that's the beginning, is I think to hedge not having a good control. I think it really helps, especially nowadays, if you have good, solid, focused social proof that's like other people are basically saying, yeah, they're giving me the result that they're promising you. You can believe them.
Hmm.
That I think saved us from bad headlines in the beginning.
Yeah. That's interesting. What have you found to be the best style of ads, like image ads, video ads, Instagram reels? I mean, there's millions of different styles of ads. What's working well for you? Maybe is it a video demo ad of your software? What's
Yeah.
working well for you?
It's shifted over time. What we found is like if we need a creative refresh on Meta in particular, we can just make 150 or 100 AI generated images using like a tool like ideogram that can is good with putting text on images. And almost always, just from playing the math, that image will beat our best video ad control. And then we'll go, okay, let's go make the video ad control better. The way I think about image ads on Meta is they're like sparklers in the world of fireworks. They're like, they'll light up pretty easily and they'll
Hmm.
sparkle and they're cool, but they burn out fast too. That's a content treadmill that we don't want to be on. But anytime we need a boost, we can just carpet bomb creative and Facebook will figure out the one that's the winner. And it's actually hard to beat that strategy. It's just that you have to refresh. I've found that you have to refresh creative a lot. Our best performing ad has been, it's a story driven demo that's like starts with a hook around the pain that people are experiencing in the product, and then shows a little bit of social proof, and then we make the bold promise, and then I go and show how we do it in the product. So that's the proof, like it actually works. And I think the reason why that works is because we're an AI tool, and there's a lot of AI tools that aren't really tools. They're like human as a service in the background, doing stuff. And so we're able to just show our product. And, one of the 82% of our customers have a 40% or greater open rate on our platform with their newsletter. I can just show them that stat in the dashboard or show them a newsletter that has that high of an open rate or higher. And some of our bigger publishers have much higher open rates. So like that kind of stuff works really well for us. We've also, the process we went through was like, we just broke the ad into 3 sections, like the hook, the body, and the call to action. And what I found is that like if I record like 10 hooks, the hook that I thought was going to win is almost never the one that wins. And we just have different versions of the creative ready to go, like Lego blocks. So I don't just shoot one ad and then publish it. I'll shoot the hook, like a bunch of hooks, keep the same body, the same call to action, find the best hook. And then I'll shoot a bunch of bodies to see if we can improve the watch through rate. Then we swap that out. And then we get to the CTA, so we kind of take it piece by piece. And then once that video ad is optimized, we try to let it run as long as we can. And, the nature of the beast on Meta, my experience is that you just have to refresh creative a lot. So that is painful, but it works. The next best thing that we've ever done is we worked with like a dozen creators that had between 5 and 50,000 followers. And we filtered for creators in the AI space that were basically influencers, but had there was a big discrepancy between their follower count and their reach. Because,
Hmm.
they've changed the algorithms on social. Like you can publish organic content and it's really like who has the best content will go viral, not necessarily who has the most followers.
Hmm.
And so what's cool is like they will basically work for peanuts. God bless you all creators. You can give them like $500 and they will do what they do best, which is make a piece of creative that is distinctively built to beat the algorithm and
Hmm.
have the best chance of going viral. And if you do that with enough creators, you might have one that pops and gets several 100,000 views. Surprise, that's probably going to be your next best ad, the hook or the body or both of that, or just run that as the ad. That stuff crushes. So if you've got an organic social media game, particularly with short form on Reels, and you get something that pops, like I would be shocked if you just ran that highest performing organic reel as an ad that didn't beat your whole VSL ad control, like doing all that testing I just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
The organic content that goes hard organically, when you turn it into ads, it's like a cheat code. It's
Yeah.
really, really good. It does take a commitment to organic content, but once you find that organic piece of content that crushes, you can have a tremendous return on ad spend turning that into an ad.
It's funny. So with our AI tool, Inspired, we started to look at creators as well. We had a couple people produce some like shout out style reels. And what's not hilarious, but it's really shocking to me. I've been in the advertising game for 11 years now, never really in the social media game. Some of the best content that I've seen has come like advertising content. They won't know it's advertising content. It's just like, oh, I'll do a shout out for you. It's incredible. Like they've got hooks down. They've got like, they can edit the crap out of these videos. They're super engaging. And, it's for me, it's like, I just need to figure out how to find more of them. But to your point, some of that content is just incredible. Like it's really, really good stuff. I'm like, man, I would have charged like 30 grand for some of this stuff that they're doing.
Well, you bring up a good point. I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, like over 15 years. This is my 6th company. We've had 3 exits. And when you find something that's working in the market in terms of go-to-market, sales and marketing in particular, it really pays to double down on that. And right now, it's my observation that if I go work with a media buyer, they really know what to charge for their services. It's like not, if you're really good at that, it's not cheap. And then they take a slice of revenue. Well, what happens is you may still have to make your own ads and make your own creatives. And if they make it for you, then they even ask for more revenue. So they kind of have optimized how much can I get for being good at that job. But when you go to creators, they are better at that job because they're making algorithmically friendly content and they don't understand their value the same way a media buyer does. So if you can take the value from one lane organic and just move it into paid, and actually like if for what I would pay a media buyer, if I just go found 10, 20, 30 creators that would make their own viral, like organic content for me, just mathematically, one of those is probably going to pop and that's going to be a tremendous ad. And I didn't have to do anything. I just traded my money for the best possible resources I could get. And it's just high leverage. So like if you're clever and you're willing to put the elbow grease in to go find that criteria, I think it's 5 to 50K followers, but way bigger reach. Like a lot of their reels are going 100,000 views regularly. If they're in your lane and they have the trust of the audience, like asking them to do a UGC ad for you and posting it, it's cheap. They, at best, the expensive ones are $1,000 a post, but that's, they do everything. They make the post, they obsess about the hook, they do all the editing, they run it through their machine. And so it's just a huge leverage point. And then if you can take those and bet on the winners with paid ads, like it's easy to test, what works and what doesn't there.
Yeah.
And so I'm like a big fan of like, how do I get the most leverage out of other people's time as a leader? And so that's just one of these gaps that I've seen. That's like, if you're willing to put the elbow grease in, huge opportunity there. Huge.
So do you run some of those as ads, like as paid advertising? Like if you find one that wins on the organic side, you turn those into ads?
Yeah. I mean, we did it with Matt Farmer on TikTok before they shut it down in the US for a brief period of time. And we were getting trial started for $20.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So we're running ads on TikTok, or you just took that and moved it over to Facebook?
No. We kept it on TikTok. Yeah.
What's your cost per trial now with $2K a month?
Cost per trial, the way to think about it is like cost per converted trial.
Yep.
Is like a converted trial is the metric. Because I can start a trial for cheap. It's between $200 and $750 depending on the market we go after. We have some pages that are just for coaches. We have our regular page. So we're kind of testing some things there.
Mm-hmm.
And then our offer it's $2,997 for the year, and about 70% of people pay in full, or $299 a month, which ends up being like $3,500 on the year. So it's pretty good ROAS over a long enough time period, and it's immediate CAC payback in ROAS if you pay in full. And 7 out of 10 people pay in full because we give like a bunch of bonuses to help you with grow your subscriber list and like learn how to use AI to help with that. So yeah, the ROAS is very good for us.
So your sales process is get them onto a free trial, and then I'm assuming there's some sort of like live demo or onboarding call, like once they do a trial?
Yeah, the sales process is if you go to Daily.ai, you can just start a newsletter right now. It'll scrape your website, analyze your ideal buyer, and make a newsletter for you right there. And then at the end of that process, you book an onboarding call. We call it a fast start activation call. And on that call, there's basically like 2 things are happening. Number one, we're just making sure you're making progress, because if you don't use the product, you won't convert. And that's the main thing. When I say use the product, like the big hump for newsletters is like you have to upload your list and you have to set up DNS if you want to send it from your domain. And that's like above most people's pay grades. And even though we have an agent that does that for you, sometimes they're like, oh, I need my tech person to do that. So we just try to handle that on the call. That's the majority of the call. And then a couple times, like we have about 5 slots a month where we actually offer our team will just run your whole newsletter for you for an extra $2,500. So we take between 5 and 7 of those additional a month. And then we just take that money and dump it right back into ad spend. That's not really our business model, but it's an easy upsell. Most people say yes. And we just take that money and buy more traffic with it or offset our ad spend.
Yeah, awesome. Love it. What would you say is, like, if you could give someone a piece of feedback who's like really trying to break, they would love to spend at least $5,000 a month, right, on ads. What would be your advice to them if they're trying to figure out the direction that they're going and really want to do it?
Yeah, I mean, depending on your risk profile, like my entrepreneurial maxims are make it work small and then go big, and then speed of implementation. So how can I de-risk from what's the first step before $5,000, right? How do I de-risk that? Because look, the nature of advertising right now, if you're listening to this, is really simple. It's literally how good is your offer? It actually has almost nothing to do with your advertising. How good is your offer? Because even bad advertising, Meta will go find a match with your people. If your offer is amazing, it's literally you're just paying Meta. It's like if your offer is really good, Meta will profitably match it to people that will buy it. The ads, the copy, even the landing page, they're not unimportant. They're just less important. If you have a tremendous offer, then that stuff is irrelevant. And I could give you lots of examples, but the classic one in direct response is like selling day-old cheeseburgers to a starving market. They're starving. They'll eat whatever. If your offer is that good, then you can basically hedge all the other factors that you could flub in buying traffic, in my opinion, because of the way the platforms are set up right now. So that's the first thing. Like if you have 10 hours to spend on something, spend 9 on the offer. The other thing is just start small, like go 50, $100 a day and like just get traffic and test each step of the process. Is my ad getting clicks? Are they landing on the landing page successfully? Is this, when they get on the landing page, are they taking the next action? And hopefully you've got like a double opt-in where you can collect their name and email. Then you have a whole bunch of organic at bats to go figure out how to get them to move forward. And that's pretty low risk. You can, $500. I think you should be trying to get to $100 a day to get a real test going. Which is $3,000. So, that's what I would do is like $100 a day, $3,000 is to me the first milestone. And then I'm on the interim, like each ad set or each test, I'm just testing, like, is it getting clicks? Is it driving people forward to the opt-in? Is something obvious broken? Like we just did a promo to a page and like my CMO like took a day off or took a vacation or something. And like we forgot to mobile optimize the page and most traffic comes from mobile. So it was all like jacked up, but people were still buying, So like, I guess my point is like, have a great offer, number one. Number two, just break it into increments and test each step. And then I like to just get people on the phone as a starting place. If you have a good offer, premium pricing, you can get people on the phone. It would be weird if you couldn't get someone on the phone for like $750 or something. And that's like an egregious amount of money to spend for one book call. I'm talking targeted. And then if you are even remotely good at selling, then you should be able to convert them to hedge your bets. If you have a $5,000 offer, then you just got your whole month back in ad spend on one sales call. That's another approach. But I think it comes down to the offer. Like I should just stop there. Offer. Make your offer a freaking amazing and then test everything in little increments. And then you can't fail as long as you do that. I mean, the worst you'll lose is $3,000 if you spend $100 a day.
I couldn't agree with that more. What I would love to hear your input on is like when you first, because you said earlier, you wish you would have gotten into paid traffic sooner, right? So have you run paid ads before? Or like, is this your first company that you ran paid ads for? Or
no, definitely not.
All right. So you were seasoned, like you were experienced with running ads. You just didn't do it with Daily.ai.
Correct. I don't have very many regrets, but that's one of them. There was this like holy grail period in 2023 where anything that said AI would get attention. And I was working partners and organic and offline when I should have been going completely all in on online. And there's some version of that that's true in every market all the time, I think. I used to think, let's de-risk, like let's do my traction channels were like organic, partner, paid. Now they're the inverse. And the reason why is because I value the learning more than I value the earning. And I can learn way faster with paid ads with the
Yes.
numbers. I can just get way more at bats, way more qualified people to see stuff, make changes faster, fail forward faster. And then once I crack the code, I mean, it's not even fair how much money you can make when you figure it out. It's
Yep.
just, it doesn't feel fair. And the only reason that like guys like you and me can continue to thrive in this space is because so many people are scared to do it. If everybody was doing it, the window would close. We got a long ways away before everyone's doing it. And I just watch people struggle all the time to generate leads. And if they would just spend this the same, even a fraction of the time to learn paid ads as they did everything else they're doing in marketing, they had their problem solved a long, long time ago.
You nailed it, because I think the window will always be open. There will always be paid marketing channels, and there will always be people who are afraid to spend money, like, period. The sheer volume of people who do organic versus paid, there's way more people who do organic than there are who do paid. And so, sure, it might get more and more expensive, but with that, it's just like with Facebook. They open up more placements, right? It's like, then they introduce Reels. And so there will always be opportunities to buy your way into people's newsletters or people's channels or whatever. Like, there's always gonna be paid media channels. And it is the single most valuable skill set I think any business owner and marketer can learn, because learning direct response marketing and learning how to generate your own leads through paid media, those skills that you learn while doing that one activity translates into everything downstream. You'll learn how to write better emails. You'll learn how to speak more clearly. You'll learn how to design funnels, like anything that matters in terms of customer acquisition, customer retention, client retention. You can learn through one area of another of testing and running paid media. And so that's what I say, because I believe in it so much, and it is the fastest path to get traction. Agree with you 100%.
Yeah. And just to juxtapose time, just to contextualize this whole thing. Back in the day, if you ever watched the TV show Mad Men about Madison Avenue in New York City in the 50s and 60s and 70s, back then you had to the feedback loop was incredibly wide and long, right? Like, you mail a thing and then you wait a long time to see if they responded, and then you calibrate. Even with TV commercials, it took a lot of time, weeks and weeks, to get the feedback. Did it work or not? You can get the feedback in hours or minutes or seconds, right? If you really play your game right. But I think the mindset shift needs to be away from earning, and it needs to move towards learning. How fast can I learn what works? That's the game you're playing. And if you constantly understand that business is a game of speed of implementation and then closing feedback loops as fast as possible, so you can just get a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, then all of a sudden you look at paid ads differently. You look at it as the greatest thing that's ever been created, instead of this big risky place that's going to lose all my money. And I think a lot of the rumors, or it wasn't even rumors, Facebook wants to take your money and not give you the result, generally speaking. And that's gotten way easier in the last, 12 to 14 months with the way the ad platform works. It's just good offer, half decent creative, you'll find customers.
When you first started running ads for Daily.ai, how soon did you know, hey, we've got something here? What was that initial feedback loop that you guys had?
It took us 90 days to really go, oh, this is going to be the only thing we do for a long time. Yeah.
So it didn't hit right away. It took a few iterations of...
Yeah, because we did retargeting for 50 days. And then it took me about a little over a month to get everything moving in the right direction. But we were ROAS positive within the first 45 days. Yeah.
So all of your testing happened first with retargeting, correct?
Yep. Exactly.
So that's something I've never heard of before, meaning someone's testing actually happened only with retargeting to start. And that's actually brilliant. Everyone talks about going to cold. That's what I talk about, is going to cold. But if you have immediate traction, if you already have some sort of traffic coming to your website and you've got the pixel installed, then testing those messages, even with warm traffic, is higher leverage. Because so the way that I kind of thought about warm and retargeting is your message will kind of always convert to warm as long as your offer is good. But
yeah,
you're saying you tested your cold, air quote, cold messages with your warm retargeting to give you higher success.
Exactly.
That's so good.
Because I'm how can when I say de-risk, I was what's the least amount of money I can spend to see if this is going to work? So we had to make it look and feel exactly like it was going to be when we went to cold. But also at some level with Meta, it's what kind of business owner buys Daily.ai and sticks around for a long time? I want the pixel to understand that. And then I want to create filters for everyone that's not that, so that they can never go to the pixel and the pixel's pristine, right? So I was cool, let's just do retargeting with coldish messaging, right? like in the same ballpark for the most part, like same imagery, same CTAs, maybe like slight derivations, but like just little tests that are easy to test, like that button of the ad, for example. But my point is like once I had those things figured out and I was like, okay, this is converting. With if I go to cold, I know the creative, the message, and Facebook knows the kind of businesses or the humans that it needs to send it to. I felt like I started feeling like, how's this gonna bomb? And not every ad cracked, but like it gave us a huge head start. Like I think our testing window for cold was like way smaller than it could have been or should have been. But again, like I don't think we scaled ad spend fast enough. Like I saw that it was working, and like I should have started sooner. Or I should have spent more faster. Is my only two regrets.
You mentioned a tool earlier for AI generated images or text over images. What was that tool?
It's ideogram, like IDEOGRAM.
Got it.
It's kind of like Flux or these like other AI models, the image models. Its claim to fame, though, is being able to create images that have accurate text on them. Large language learning model image models don't do particularly well with like Midjourney does not do well with text. So think about ideogram as Midjourney, but better with text. You could put text in the prompt.
So this is what you use to create your image ads.
Oh, and you can create like a basically no cost per nth image. You just keep ripping them out. It's like colors and call to actions. And I mean, it's like, go get 50 images and spray them. You have Facebook spray them at a low cost, and then you find the winner and you just scale that thing up.
Does this have an API? Do you guys use it with Daily.ai, like on the newsletter creation?
They definitely have an API. And we, like Daily.ai's newsletters, we use ideogram, Flux, but yeah, they have an API. So yes, you can plug this into basically anything.
This is awesome. This is worth like everything that we just talked about. So like image creation has always been like creative is always like people's hurdle is like, oh, I got to create more stuff and blah, blah. This is fantastic. Yeah. And isn't it so wild that like AI is so smart, they get the text wrong, like on the images. Like it's just, I don't know. There's something about that doesn't make any sense. Like I can code an entire software application in a span of an hour now with the AI tools, and I have no coding experience, but it can't create text on images, which is a little strange. But
well, if you train the model the right way, they're well-behaved little models. If you train them, they perform, and if you don't, then they don't. I don't think that the original image model people were like, we really need to be thinking about this use case of text on images. But here we are, us advertisers are like, no, that's what we want.
Okay, we had some connection issues and we are going to wrap it up, but we had an incredible conversation here today with Joe over at Daily.ai, and we also got a bunch of little links that we're going to drop in the show notes as well, like ideogram, which is where we kind of left off at the end of our conversation. That's fantastic. I had no idea about ideogram, which will help you create images very, very quickly. I'm checking it out right now as we speak, and it's really, really cool. Joe, is there anywhere else that you want us to send our listeners to go check you out? Obviously, Daily.ai, we will send them to, but is there any other links you want to drop?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Joe Stolte Live. I put out content every day.
All right, perfect. We will link your Instagram down below. Joe, I appreciate it, man. And if you're listening, reach out to Joe, let him know you heard him on Experts Unleashed, and we'll see you on the next episode. Take care.